What took you from being a kind of oppositional or a contrarian Republican to a self-declared libertarian?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I liked about the Republican Party in 1992 and 1993 because it became the opposition party. But what I didn't like about it was I had a lot of gay friends, especially being in New York, being young, being in music. And I didn't like the way that, because Jesse Helms was still alive. And, one of his famous quotes was, "You become what you condone." And I'm like,
oh, wow.
I don't think I'm going to become a gay man anytime soon.
Well, you've still got some time
But right now,
left.
I totally could.
Yeah.
I could be like tomorrow, I'm a gay man. They'd be like, great, we're going to throw you a parade. Congratulations. But the social conservatism was really off-putting, but I liked the idea of aspirational success. Mm-hmm. And so I was having dinner with Kurt Loder one night, and he was like, "You're not a Republican." And he was getting really frustrated, but he was very angry about the Clinton White House, and he was disgusted about what he saw as like encroaching big government. Right. And I was like, I hate that stuff too. But he's like, "You're a libertarian." And I didn't know what that meant. Yeah. But I was very intrigued by the idea because I was also very good friends with Dweezil Zappa, and we would sit and talk with his father, Frank, who at the time was being treated for metastatic prostate cancer. And, he would lose his battle with that the year after I met him. But, it's like listening to Frank, because we wouldn't talk because I didn't have a lot to add to the discussion, but listening to Frank because...
I get the impression, too, that Frank Zappa didn't really need people to fill the pauses.
Yeah. No, he didn't. No. He was a very interesting person. Yeah. Loved coffee.
Yeah.
And he talked about libertarianism, and he was really interesting the way Kurt Loder was really interesting, and they both were like energized and superpowered by music. Obviously, Frank Zappa was creating music in a way that no one ever had, and musicians that I love respected him so much. And Kurt Loder analyzed and understood music in the way a critically thinking journalist would. And he didn't have to make music to really want to exist inside of it, take it apart, and explain it to people. So if both those people who were infinitely smarter and more experienced than me, if they had if they had a name for the same kind of conclusion, and one of them was saying, "You're a libertarian as well," then I wanted to investigate that.
What was it about libertarianism that appealed to you then?
Freedom, the freedom to be successful, the freedom to make academic inquiry without being married to groupthink, and the freedom to allow people to do whatever they wanted, because I saw so much of that going on around me in music. And as long as it didn't affect me, there was a relationship between debauchery and creativity that I always found so fascinating. Like that intersection was so rich because it could be chaotic and destructive and deadly, or it could be mind-blowing and soul-shaking and beautiful. And a lot of the social conservatives, they did condemn that. And, they condemned music, they condemned lyrics, and they condemned partying of any kind. And even though, I was really straight edge at the time, I loved being around people who rode the razor's edge.